Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, Professor Dawkins, faculty staff, distinguished guests and graduating students. Before I begin, I'd like to just confirm, Vice-Chancellor and Chancellor, that given the strong relationship between the Western Bulldogs and Victoria University, that all of Dr Veal's research and findings should be exclusively kept to the Western Bulldogs' intellectual property. If we can make sure that occurs, that'd be a fantastic step for us. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak at this auspicious occasion. I'm humbled and honoured to have been asked to do so. I understand that given this is a graduation, many of you would have had enough of studying for the time being, even if it is only for the short term. Given I've spent much of my life in education and educational institutions, I can certainly understand and identify with that feeling. However, I'd like to briefly share with you some of my educational experiences and how they've helped shape me and certainly my career. Sometimes the passage of time can increase the fondness with which you look back at things. However, I do have fantastic memories of my life as a student, but particularly as a student at Victoria University. I completed most of my classes at night at the Flinders Street campus and did take, and it must be said, an inordinate amount of time to graduate with an MBA. And in reflection, it was a challenging but special time that certainly played an integral part of forming my career. As the Chancellor alluded, it is certainly a career that is admittedly still in its infancy, but certainly was profoundly impacted by my education and time at Victoria University. I consider myself extremely fortunate on a number of fronts. Luck certainly played a part in me fulfilling my childhood dream by forging an 11-year career as an AFL footballer. This career provided experiences that one could only dream of, experiences that included playing in an AFL grand final, qualifying for the AFL's 200 club, and playing with and being coached by some of the absolute greats of the game. And I was also able to establish lifelong friendships and relationships with some of the most amazing people you're likely to meet. However, I'd like to share with you a pivotal experience that occurred at the start of this career that for me highlighted the importance of education. In 1993, I was completing the first year of an undergraduate degree at another university, I apologise, in Melbourne. And I had as a lecturer and a course coordinator in that university a man by the name of David Parkin. Many of you, I'm sure, would be aware of David as a Hall of Fame member and absolute legend of AFL football, having played and coached in premierships at Hawthorn and coached Carlton to a number of premierships also. I was also an aspiring and budding footballer at this time, and approaching the November AFL National Draft, I'd had a number of clubs show some interest, including Sydney, obviously, and Carlton, then coached by David. Sure enough, this was the first televised draft in history, and at pick number 49, my name was read out. It wasn't a large draft, and about 10 or 15 picks later, the draft was finished. And quite quickly after that, I had a phone call. Obviously, there was a number of phone calls from family and friends and other well-wishers, but I had a phone call from Ron Barassi, the then Sydney coach, who obviously wanted to congratulate me, talk to me about heading up to Sydney and starting the journey that I was about to undertake. About 3 minutes after Barras called, I had a phone call from David Parkin. And for those of you that know David, he's relatively straightforward and straight to the point. He said to me, "Congratulations, well done. We're going to get you with our next pick, but it's fantastic. You'll have a great time up there. And by the way, I've spoken to a colleague of mine at University of Western Sydney. I've spoken to a colleague of mine at University of New South Wales. I think we can get you into one of those courses. I think there's a couple of credits that we can have for some of the subjects that you've already undertaken." And you can imagine as an 18-year-old who'd, I must admit, just got through his first year at university and had just been picked to go and fulfil a childhood ambition, my mind was probably already at the pub celebrating with friends. And this phone call jolted me back into a bit of reality. And it really did take me back that I had what we know as a legend of our game calling me as a pimply-faced 18-year-old who he'd just barely known for just on 9 months and was concerned with me and my education. And to my mind, for him, who just 3 months earlier coached a losing grand final side, 12 months fast forward, he was about to coach one of the greatest teams in history to a premiership win. For him to show that level of interest really sparked my understanding of how important education can be. and I'm forever indebted for David for showing that level of interest in me. Looking back, it was clear that my football career was essentially an incredible apprenticeship for life, if you will. And while it is what you make of it, it has certainly assisted me in a number of areas, including understanding leadership, the value of teamwork, how important work ethic is, and persistence through adversity. All of these traits I'm sure you're well identified with. While I consider myself extremely fortunate to have played AFL football, when I look back on my life and some of my achievements to date, I'm actually most grateful for the strong educational opportunities that my parents and people like David Parkin provided me. My parents, as many of you would also be in a similar situation, worked incredibly hard to provide the best education they could for my brother, my sister and I. We were not pushed, but we were rather encouraged to strive and achieve at everything, including our studies. And given that basis, I can honestly say that my educational journey from school right through to my time at Victoria University formed the foundation of my career. It opened my eyes to so many possibilities. It reinforced traits like perseverance, determination and teamwork. It provided me with a network that I regularly call upon. It improved my football by providing balance, and it certainly improved me as a person. I feel a little uneasy providing you with advice as you embark on your next journey, but if I could be so bold, the one thing I would say to you is find what you love. It's significantly easier to commit to yourself to something and achieve great things if you're passionate about what you're doing. Whether that be further study, your professional career or in your personal lives, find what you love. If you can't find it, keep looking. I'm one of the lucky ones who's been able to do it twice, and I can say that my education was critical to that outcome. Once again, I'd like to thank Victoria University for this opportunity and sincerely congratulate all of you as students graduating from this great institution. Well done and good luck.